Hi, welcome to Chez Les Fleur podcast. I'm Janet, and we talk to women in business, small business entrepreneurs. We love to hear about the challenges, the rewards, the wonderful things that happen, the great people they're meeting. And I really appreciate you watching our show today. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're a returning visitor, we're so glad to have you back. And my guest today is Theresa Foley, and she balances a lot. So she's going to talk to us about Showplace, where she works, but she has an interesting perspective on that because she's also an entertainer. So Theresa, thank you for taking time to be with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
So you look after talking with the producers and looking after the entertainment at Showplace, which is, if you're not familiar with Showplace, it's a theater, a live theater downtown. It years ago was a movie theater when communities got one movie at a time, and we had two theaters side by side, and each showed one movie at a time. And then, as we progress into, multiplexes and lots of movies showing lots of times, a member of our community said that would make a good downtown live entertainment venue. Let's make the movie theater into Showplace, and solicited a lot of community support, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon because wow, we were going to have a live venue downtown and it was going to be so much fun, which it is. And it's like over 30 years old now, 35.
1996 that Showplace opened as a performing arts center. Yeah.
Wow. And at that time has gone just like that.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I can't imagine our downtown without it.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get to work at bringing in the great things that we as a community see. How does that work?
Well, Showplace has several different departments. Each department is responsible for a different part of bringing in the acts. So the general manager oversees everything. He's actually an executive director, is our new person, and they do the contracts and settlements and also have final say on shows and that sort of thing. For me, I am the box office manager, so I'm kind of the first person that everybody contacts, the emails, the phone calls, and the in-person. So I tend to answer a lot of questions and set up a lot of things. So with promoters, when they email us asking about dates, I'll check the calendar and see what's available. And I also make sure that we don't have conflicting acts. So we don't want to have, two ABBA shows in a 3-month period of time because they're going to steal each other's, neither of them will do that well. So we keep an eye on that sort of thing. And then line up the calendars and then make sure that the whole staff is available for those dates and that sort of thing. I also set up the shows physically, put them on the website put them on sale and all of that kind of stuff. And then sell the tickets, obviously.
Well, it's since COVID, we had a great line. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Before COVID, we had always had a great lineup. But post-COVID, it's, my perception is it's just gone, Yahoo, we can go out and there seems to be something almost every night that you can go to. And it's
there's a lot going on. It was hard coming out of COVID. COVID was so destructive for so many businesses, and for us, it was no different. We spent 2 years moving shows and giving back money, and it was a very difficult time. And then when COVID was officially over, people had a difficult time coming back into crowds. They'd still go out, but they would keep their distance and that sort of thing, which is really hard to do in a theater. But And also performers. I spoke with a lot of different performers, and a lot of them, after 2 years of not performing, a lot of them found it difficult to get back into that world as well. So, becoming underconfident. Did I lose my trade? Am I still good at it? Do I still want to do this and that sort of thing? So, but we are back in full swing now for sure. And as soon as the artists have started going on the road again and doing tours again, they have this whole new appreciation and a whole new joy in their craft, which is really cool as well. So yeah, there's an excitement again. People are coming back. They're not afraid to sit together. Some people still wear masks, and that's totally great. But it's good to have everything back again.
Yeah,
We need that. Yeah.
it sure is. Yeah, absolutely. Now, you, I'm sure, bring a unique perspective to what you do at Showplace because you too are a performer. And you and your family are very talented and in all sorts of ways. And I'm sure you're going to tell us about that.
Well, for me, this is such an amazing opportunity to work in an environment that's all about music and performance and artists, and so that's a real treat for me. Our own shows I produce 3 shows a year, and one of them is our Foley's Irish Pub, and then there's our Foley's East Coast Pub. And those are both Celtic pubs in our lower level studio, which is a very intimate setting with tables and chairs and the bar right in the room. So we call it a kitchen party. And my husband's a storyteller. Our grandkids join us. They might just come up and do actions to songs, and often they'll actually sing a song as well. And my daughter Bridget, when she's available, is in it. What my granddaughter Amelia, when she's available, comes in it. So those are a lot of fun. They're very family oriented, and it's just like having it in your house. And then once a year we do a cozy Christmas, which we've done for 20 years, and that's all of our family members who are in town. They all participate, who come to town, and as well as our musical friends. And they all donate their time and talent, because this is a fundraiser for a school that I work with in Liberia, West Africa. So we raise money for we raise money for the teachers with the Cozy Christmas, because all year round we find sponsors for orphan kids who otherwise wouldn't go to school. So we're constantly looking for donations for that, but the teachers often go without. So at Christmas, the money we raise at this concert goes to paying the teachers a bonus, which is often a salary they didn't even get for the last 2 months or whatever. So that's become a really important project for us as well.
Now, have you been to the school in Liberia?
I have, yes, yeah. In 2008, I was there, and then again in 2009. In 2008, we made our connection with them. 2009, we kind of solidified the program, and we've been doing it since then. I have a gentleman named Edward Bockery, who was the principal at the school at the time, and now he moves around to different schools, but he still oversees this project. He chooses the students that he feels would do well with going to school, and he monitors their progress, and if they continue to pass, then they stay in the program. I send the money directly to him. He distributes it to there's actually 2 schools, one for elementary and one for high school. So he does all the groundwork for us, and he's just completely trustworthy, and so it's a good program, but we've been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah, you have. And kudos to you, because even the basics that can be improved on makes a huge difference for so many people, and you may not even hear about it at the time because you don't know how that's going to play out in the years to come. And
Yeah, for sure. Well, a lot of these kids, if nothing else, it gives them a sense of hope that they have a future. And we have had some success stories and some graduates in different kinds of careers and going on to trade schools. We have one student that we still sponsor post graduate. She's in a nursing program, and we don't usually sponsor at that level, but she went to the university and negotiated a lower rate, and she just worked so hard to make this happen that we decided we would take her on as well. But we have been sponsoring or finding sponsors for her since she was in grade 1, and now she's in her second year of nursing. So it's pretty terrific. These are kids, they're orphaned or semi-orphans from the war and would not have gone to school otherwise. So it's pretty great.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Good on you. So being a performer,
Mhm.
what kind of unique insights does that give you when you're working with the performers that come to Showplace?
Well, it's a hard question for me because I don't work directly with the artists, with the performers. I work more directly with their promoters, so setting up the shows. Our front of house and our tech department work with the artists. So I don't actually, I often don't even meet with them at all. So unless
Okay,
they're
well, that
walking
might
through the way to
cancel out
dinner.
my next question.
Yeah.
Who has come to Showplace that you've been the most starstruck by?
Oh, that's still a very answerable question. Burton Cummings.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't always stay for the shows. I sometimes will stay for a while because I love it. But I mean, you're there since 9 o'clock in the morning, and you kind of want to go home at the end of the day. But definitely stay for Burton Cummings when he comes, and I love staying for the next generation Leahy kids when when they perform. They're just their energy and their talent just still blows me away. So I try and stay for that. And another one that I really enjoyed was the Bear McNeils. But I mean, they're all amazing. We've had just incredible lineups, and artists that you would normally have to go to Massey Hall or somewhere like that to see, and here they are in a more intimate, smaller size theater. You don't have to fight the traffic to go to Toronto. You don't have to pay Toronto parking. You don't have to stay out for dinner if you don't want to because you're in your home area. So we're so blessed to have Showplace in our neighborhood.
Well, and the other thing is you're home 20 minutes after the show is over,
Exactly. Yeah,
as opposed to still being in the parking garage lineup
I
20
know,
minutes
it's true.
after the show is over.
Yeah, it's very
And you're right. I think you and your team do a fabulous job of getting us a wide variety of entertainment, a lot of entertainment, and making the theater available for things that are local,
that's
whether
important.
it's your group or whether it's, we're going to have a fundraiser and we're going to get all the local talent in here.
Mhm.
It really, I hats off to you and your team
Thank
because
you.
I think Showplace is fabulous.
Thank you. Well, we do all work together on it. It's really important to us that we support our community, but also that we diversify and that we have different types of cultural events. And we're actually actively working on that right now. We want to make sure that we're representative of our whole community, and the community has changed, and our demographic has changed, and we're trying to make sure that we are lining up entertainment that will speak to us culturally. We want to educate as well as entertain, and just make sure everybody feels that Showplace is part of their world. So
Yeah, and rightly so, because Peterborough is changing, our country is changing, our province is changing, and there's so much rich culture and music and dancing that we may not have grown up with, but it's pretty fabulous, and it's
yes.
lovely to have that.
Yeah, and it's good for all of us to experience that. If it's not part of your culture, take it in and learn about another culture, or learn, just be exposed to some things that you wouldn't normally seek out, because it's affordable, because it's in our own town, so yeah, we're trying to create these opportunities, and it's good for your personal growth.
Yes. Yes. And every so often I'll have a friend phone me from out of town and say, we're on the Showplace website. Tell me where the good seats are. And I
Oh,
say, there aren't any bad seats at
I
Showplace.
agree. Yeah,
Wherever you won't, there will be no columns in your way. There'll be, you just pick a seat and you'll be able to see what's going on. Like it really, it, in my opinion, humble
no,
as it
it's very
is,
true. Yeah,
it's the right size theater for a lot of the things
yeah.
that get presented there. And
Yeah, for sure. Peterborough is fortunate in that we have different sizes of theaters. So depending on what acts are coming to town, there's a theater that's appropriate for that. Market Hall is about half our size, and then of course there's the Memorial Center and the venue, and there's Theater on King for the really small, intimate things. There's Peterborough Theater Guild, St. James Players. Like, we have so much, and it's not competition with each other. It's all about supporting the arts and having the right theater for the right act that's coming to town. So I think that all of the theaters have done well to make that happen.
yeah, and touching on what you just said, I think that's one of the things that I really admire about watching you at work and in our community is you've got that balance between, I mean, it's the arts and you understand and appreciate and participate in the arts, but the arts is also a business. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't just, they don't just walk on the stage with their guitar in their hand and say,
Gosh, yeah.
I'm ready to start. And you also have a great skill at managing that business piece, making sure the tickets are there, that the contacts have been made, that because the arts are a business, they're like anything else, they don't just happen.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's a lot behind the scenes. I'm a member of the Women's Business Network, as you know, and we had an opportunity to give some of those women a tour and talk about what happens behind the scenes, and they were floored. Like, people just don't understand at all, and why would you? You don't need to know, but it's still really interesting to find out from conception to the end of a concert, all the things that happen, behind this, in the green room, on the stage, afterwards, beforehand, just making sure the artists are all there and taken care of, that all their requirements for on the stage are taken care of. The tech department has a huge department. They have, make sure they have the right lighting, make sure they have the right sound equipment, and all of that. It's quite an operation. And we are a
Well,
small team, but we operate with a huge roster of volunteers, which is a really important part of Showplace as well. Without the volunteers, Showplace would not be able to function. If we had to pay for all of those positions, we're not for profit, very dependent on arts grants and donations and bursaries, that sort of thing. And we have over 100 volunteers that keep the place running, ushers and ticket takers, and even in the box office I have volunteers, and so that's a really important part of the operation. Yeah.
yeah, and they're knowledgeable, they're Johnny on the spot, you can tell they're there to help you if you need
Mm-hmm.
anything, and you do have a great team of volunteers. But I also want to give a shout out to your tech people because when you're at something that maybe okay, I'll use the symphony where Michael speaks from the stage and then he wants the tech team to play a piece for him that he's going to speak to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the right volume, it's the right start, it's the right stop, and that doesn't just happen.
Oh, that's
You
right.
got to work on that. It's like
Yeah,
I say, you
that's the
don't just pick
magic
up.
of it all.
It
Yeah.
really is. It really
Yeah.
is. And that makes it magic for us in the audience. And you can forget about your troubles for a few
Yeah.
hours. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
yeah, it is. It is. So I really admire everything you do and your team do down at Showplace, because we're fortunate to have you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're fortunate to be there for sure. Yeah.
Now, I know you're busy and you've got a lot on the go. What I like to do to wrap up is ask a few questions that don't pertain to your work. So if you're up for answering those,
Well, I'll
I've
let you
got
know.
some. Okay, you
Fire
ready?
away. Sure.
Okay. Chocolate or butterscotch?
Salted chips.
Okay. Lightfoot or Young?
Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee in the morning, tea in the evening.
Stage or screen?
Oh, that's a tough one too. I love live. Definitely, I guess I'd have to go with stage, but I do veg over, over the screen a lot, but certainly prefer stage.
Pen or pencil?
Pen all the way.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for taking time to be with us today on Chez Les Fleur. I really appreciate that you were able to be with us and tell the story of Showplace and of your family East Coast pub, Cozy Christmas, and all the fun and you have with that, and your support for Liberia. It's really gratifying to hear.
Thank you. Well, it's a fun life, and it's never dull.
Yes, very true. Very true.
Well, thank you for doing this. That's fun.
Well, thank you.
All right.
If you're watching Chez Les Fleur for the first time, we welcome you. If you're back for another visit, we're glad to see you. And next week, we're going to be hearing from Jennifer Skates, and Jennifer makes ice cream. Wow. What a great job that must be. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Theresa.
Bye.
Bye.